Warning: the following episode contains significant depictions of manipulation, abuse, violence involving the body and specifically the throat, as well as consensual sexual violence. This begins in the latter half of the episode with Ani's story, at approximately 20 minutes. Listener discretion is advised.
Alright everyone, we have 2 weeks until the start of next semester. I have one goal until then. Figure out who the hell this foundation is.
You mean the guys who go around kidnapping people and attacking the library?
Yeah, them.
Why exactly?
So, from what we know, they are quite potentially the most dangerous aspect of this entire adventure we've been going on.
Besides Jean?
Even more than Jean. They seem to attack the library randomly, and they bring serious harm and destruction in their wake. They also seem to be coming up in nearly every story that we read. Hell, I mean, look back at the magic users like Tilda Moose, or maybe the Serpent Hand itself bringing it up. Or how about last week with Valkov and quote-unquote White Crow? They seem to be everywhere. Their hands are in everything. If we want to go about whatever we want this adventure to be, we kind of need to know who they are.
You know what? Yeah, they have been in a lot of things recently.
Or maybe this is a coincidence. We learned a lot about a lot of groups recently, and they all seem pretty rough. Why this one?
But this one has been everywhere. The others are like footnotes in comparison.
You said this about the Endless Catacombs last semester, remember? Spoiler, not endless.
Well, this isn't like that.
Uh-huh. You've been obsessing over them since last week, Lirulin. Next thing we know, you'll be drawing their logos in your notebooks.
Still, don't we need Rowan for this? Otherwise, we're going in blind.
I mean, there's also Von Late.
A hard pass. Either it's Rowan, or this could take all of the next 2 weeks, and we would still get nowhere.
Well, I guess you're right. Where even is she?
Didn't she run off to find Jean and Mars last week? Now that I think about it, I haven't heard from them either.
Looking for someone?
Rowan, there you are. Jesus. Ugh. Try not to scare us like that.
Sorry. Either way, I'm here.
So, where are Mars and Jean? Shouldn't they be here too?
They came by a little earlier. I have them set aside with someone to watch over them. Don't worry.
That's totally not a terrifying statement.
Don't worry. I found them last week while you were all recapping your adventures. They were in the atrium, held up, with Jean trying to convince Mars that contraband snacks counted as a diplomatic offering. I'll spare you the whole exchange, but yes, I brought them back, safe, intact, and with slightly fewer candy wrappers than when I found them.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So, what's the plan for today?
Well, we've been reading about this foundation a lot in the recent stories, and I was thinking we could...
No.
What?
No, we aren't doing that. Not yet. You'll see their shadow here and there, because their shadow touches everything. But the foundation, I don't think you're ready yet.
What do you mean?
The foundation is complicated. Both the library and the foundation exist on completely separate morality systems. You need to understand the library's morality to move on to the foundation.
Huh? Didn't I literally have a breakdown a few weeks ago about my concerns about safety? Isn't that...
Black and white? Yeah.
She's right. We need to go a lot deeper than just good and evil.
So, what do you propose?
Follow me. While exploring the library, if you want to understand what the library really is, you need to understand why it does what it does.
Okay, I know there's a whole big picture going on here, but isn't the library itself mostly just librarians, docents, and wanderers who seek to preserve interdimensional knowledge? Is there more to it than that? I kind of thought that was the start and end of this whole thing.
Lots. The library doesn't see good and evil the way you or I would. The library exists for a reason.
What about the Serpent's Hand? They seem to have a pretty clear morality.
Somewhat, but the Serpent's Hand is not the library, though they share the same trends. Though, to be honest, you need to understand both to understand the Foundation.
But why?
The Foundation doesn't see the library as evil, simply as something uncontained that they must control. On the other hand, the serpents are evil to them, almost an existential threat.
And we're about to step into the middle of this?
Not yet. First, you will understand your allies. Then, you can understand their enemies. Ah, here we are. Just the shelf I wanted. Here, Lirulin, read this.
Huh? What's this?
An example of how the library sees good and evil. I want you to read it.
All right. What is this called? On Thieves and Punishment. Okay. If prostitution is the world's oldest profession, then theft must come in at a close second. From the moment sapient life conceived the concept of owning things, an equal and opposite concept was conceived, focused solely on the taking of things owned by others. As cave people squatted in their caves gnawing on roasted meat, Neanderthals from a different cave looked on and thought to themselves about how much nicer that venison would look in their hands. But, as with all professions, it was only a matter of time before someone elevated it to an art form. Thieving as a profession and thieving as a craft are as different as night and day. Any schmuck with a crowbar and 2 hands can be a thief, but it takes a professional to do it well enough that they become a paragon of every aspiring con artist, cat burglar, and pickpocket. This tome records but a few of those artisans. Well, that is one hell of a foreword, but alright, let's go in. The first thief. But we must always pay our respects to our forebearers. The wanderers of the library have peered back through the folds of time and discovered the identity of the first sapient being in the universe to commit the unoriginal sin. A single-celled organism on a now-dead planet, unnamed as single-celled organisms lack the brainpower to conceptualize names. While floating in the primordial ooze, it eventually collided with another single-celled organism. A small, dead protist was caught in the awesome impact. As the second organism spread its body to envelop the appetizing microscopic corpse, the first pulled away the food source before the other's eyes, if it had any, with lightning-quick speed. For the purposes of this tome, that single-celled organism was, and forever will be, the first thief. Next is Roboter, King of Thieves. The vast majority of thieves set their sights on the simple and easily attainable. Not so with your Roboter. At the time, merely a lowly pickpocket in some foreign city in the sands. He made a living stealing just enough food to survive and sleeping in abandoned minarets and shacks. Although, Roboter happened to be identical in all appearances to the reigning king. The king was a recluse hermit, said to have gone mad as a result of an intergenerational dedication to keeping power in the family. At his annual public speaking appearance, their eyes met, and in a fit of terror at this unwashed doppelganger, the king suffered a heart attack, which his doctors curiously believed was caused by an absence of mercury in his diet, and he was put to bed until he could recover. From there, it was a simple matter for Roboter to sneak into the palace and garrote him in his bed. The kingdom records show that after his heart attack, the king had a miraculous recovery to sanity and declared that he would once again rule the kingdom and bring it back to prosperity. He began appearing in public and, to no small amount of pearl clutching in the court, actually speaking to his subjects. His rule, by all accounts, was just and prosperous, and even after his untimely death at the hands of a runaway elephant parade, the kingdom itself thrived. Though, Some of the more veteran palace guards continue to whisper stories about a body that the king ordered to be wrapped and burned in the desert, far from the city. Steal an object and you are a criminal. Steal an identity and you are anyone. Next is Emperor Bravis. Plic Bravis was the appointed governor of Troville, a small colony planet on the far reaches of its ruling empire. Granted only a small local legislation, the planet was regularly ignored and heavily taxed by the Empire, despite being an economic hub for the area. After a few years of this treatment, one dark night in his study, Bravis hatched a scheme with this legislation that he promised would end in nothing but profit for them all. A few months later, Bravis brought before the local courts a case. One of his co-conspirators, also his neighbor, had pushed his property line away into Bravis's, and Bravis demanded that the courts make it right. The judge ruled in favor of the neighbor, pointing at an ancient bylaw from the more primitive days of the Empire. Any land taken during conquest is the property of the invading persons until they relinquish possession of it. By the next morning, the planet was free. Overnight, the local militias had smothered the quartered soldiers in their sleep and taken control of their bases. Bravis was no fool. He knew there would be consequences. So when the Imperial ships landed from orbit to put down the rebellion, he pointed to the ruling by the judge. The planet, he argued, had been taken by conquest, and as such, it was now the property of the people of Troville. The captains, confused at this legal tomfoolery, communicated to the seat of the Empire. Changing the laws of the Empire was a long and arduous process, and after their week-long emergency session, the lawyers of the Empire advised the captains to simply glass the planets from orbit and call it a day. But at that point, Bravis had rallied all the neighboring planets, also neglected by the Empire, to his cause, and the captains found themselves flanked by stolen Imperial ships. Months later, a peace treaty was hammered out between the Empire and the new Free Alliance of Rim planets. Bravis's ingenuity taught us that all you need to steal anything, even a planet, is to take the advantage of the flaws around you and have the guts to press that advantage long after normal people would have quit while they were ahead. Next is Yves Midday. While all these thieves are pioneers of the craft, Yves Midday stands out in a unique way. Not a single sapient being in the universe has managed to achieve the unprecedented theft that he pulled off, despite infinite attempts at it both before and after him. Midday pulled off the impossible, and for that he is recognized. He's the only individual to have stolen from the Wanderer's library itself. Theft of knowledge stands as one of the few actions considered absolutely intolerable in the library. Despite the strong warnings from the archivist and the imposing presence of librarians, every so often a person or persons attempt to take something from the library. Sometimes it's the jailers, sometimes the book burners, most often some isolated fool unaware of the lengths the librarians will go to protect their precious books. The archivists gave up their eyes for knowledge of where every single book in the library is at all times. The moment one is stuffed into a bag or a coat, they are aware and will alert the docents and pages. From then on, it's only a matter of time until the perpetrator is caught. The ways are the only entries and exits to the library. The librarians control the ways, and whoever controls the ways controls the library itself. Any way the thief attempts to enter will refuse entry, and the circle of librarians will tighten until the criminal is caught. There is no hiding, and there is no running. Anyone caught trying to steal from the library will find themselves trapped as a page or docent, working in the library until they've paid back their debt with interest. All of this goes to show the scale of the heist Midday committed. The secret of exactly how he evaded the long arms of the librarians has been lost to time, but theories continue to float in the air. Most accept that he manufactured a portable artificial way and escaped through it, but the second question of Midday's theft is what he stole. The librarians are unable to divulge this knowledge, and the archivists unwilling. Whatever it was, it is generally accepted that it was incredibly useful and powerful. After all, who risked their eternal soul for 4,002 ways to make a salt circle plus 4 bonus methods? And the third question is the most asked. Where is Midday now? The pessimists maintain that he couldn't escape the librarians forever, and is now sentenced to spend eternity serving the library. The optimists claim he is living the good life using whatever in the tome he took with him. The realists say he is dead, But even if he is, the legend lives on in the hearts and minds of every thief in the ranks of the Wanderers. And so, for every organized and law-abiding society, there exists a mirror society dedicated to ignoring the laws laid out by the first. The library is no different. This book only appears to those with the skill, talent, and intention to attempt to perform a heist of knowledge. Now that you're aware of your progenitors in the art of theft, you may set this tome down and step into the small doorway in the shelf that is open to your right. Welcome to the Thieves of Knowledge, Wanderer. Huh. Yeah, there is a door there.
Don't go in.
Got it.
So, what do you take away from this?
So this story seems to be some form of evil can lead to good and good can lead to evil, like how theft can lead to good.
Exactly.
But it's kind of written in the story itself. Doesn't the library see the preservation of knowledge as the ultimate good? So, literally as written, doesn't that make theft evil? Why are you showing me this?
Not exactly. Theft itself is not necessarily evil, and the library knows that. After all, it preserves the knowledge of theft as well. The library sees knowledge as the ultimate good, and that restriction of knowledge itself is evil. This is why people like the jailers and the book burners are its natural enemies.
Okay, I see.
Now, Ani, your turn.
Me?
Yes, you. You need to understand the morality of the library and the hand as well.
And I don't?
No, not yet. You're as far as Lirulin, just in the other direction.
What does that mean?
Let's find out. The story is about the hand.
It started like this. You two were wolves. Anya was the clever one and the cruel one. You were the strong one, the stalwart one. When you found the blades and the pack of bad men found you, you both laughed at their ultimatum. Forget about it or die.
How about you forget about it or die?
Anya said, and you'd sneered, showing teeth, knowing with a sickness that there was no going back to the easy times when the two of you hunted for nothing more than cheap thrills and pocket change. But now, you've taken a side in the war. You'd lost the fight, but they'd taken you in nonetheless, under their wings. But you didn't need to fly. The world of the bizarre, the unnatural, the twisted came easy. You cracked bones and cut throats, her by your side, and you never lost your prey. Not when she was at your back. You celebrated your sickening victories, unhooking her bra with the burn of alcohol in your throat. You called yourself a monster. And you took pride in it, never giving up the hunt. Until you did. Until you met another monster, one that fought tooth and nail to protect a useless piece of shit who'd passed out at the sight of blood. This monster, Ketz, matched you blow for blow, nearly killing you with no hesitation, and when Anya came to save you, like she always did, she'd killed the weakling, like she always did, and that was when you'd lost your arm. That was when the seed of guilt was planted, and that seed of guilt grew into a vine that strangled your heart. It made you weak. You ran, but before you did, you'd asked her to come with you, that you'd found a place where you could be home. She said that she was your home. You found Ketz again, among shelves of forbidden tomes, cursed and blessed alike. You found them again, and when they kissed you so easily, That guilt constricted you so tight you couldn't breathe. It wasn't that you'd killed, tortured, and maimed in the name of your misguided teenage rebellion-fueled version of the world, supported by a bunch of madmen. It was that you left without Anya. When you were a wolf, Anya kissed you like you were the first and the last. She'd kissed you softly, melting into your arm, but with titanium in her bones and blood on her hands. Blood you'd spilled because she'd asked. As you became a serpent, they tasted like the sky. There was a wind in their hands as they flitted across your body, touching your gears with as depth as movement as they touched your thighs. They wore no makeup or contact lenses, but their lips were jade green and their eyes were golden. When you'd last see Anya, she had 2 pupils in her right eye, both of them red. When you woke up in Ketz's bed the next morning, you cried as they kissed the salty tears off your cheeks. You said you still loved her.
I know.
They twisted a ring on a long golden chain around their neck. They were naked otherwise, their large body sprawled across their bed and yours curled up.
Me too.
But she's a monster.
Love doesn't give a shit about your ethics.
They never said who they still loved, and you never asked. And they never asked about your love. When you saw Anya again, it didn't matter how many innocent people you'd seen her killed, helped her kill. At that rundown bar in the big city in a distant country where she was the only one who spoke your language, you drunk together freely and acted as if nothing was the matter, like you weren't tanned and she wasn't still insurgency. She wore that leather jacket, the same one you stole for her from that tiny vintage shop in Venice, and she ordered for you both, speaking German fluently. When you passed out too quickly, you were almost relieved because that meant she didn't still love you too. That it was a lie. Anya still bit when she kissed. You kissed her back, even as the haze of unconsciousness pulled you under. You nearly died that night, not even by Anya's hands, but with her cold approval. She didn't hold the knife that cut you, but she gave the orders. And that should have made you stop loving her. You should have stopped loving her. Cats saved your life, and you loved them too. You murmured their name as they wrapped your wounds in their shirt. They didn't know how to heal, and you didn't know either. All of either of you knew was how to hurt. Them with their wind, and you with your thorns. It's like this. You stand in front of a mirror, tracing your latest scars with your metal fingers. They're cold against your hot skin. The wound is closed, cauterized by Kate's magic, but you can feel where your lover tore your flesh apart. She's a monster in her body and in her mind. She's never coming with you. You've known this all along. You don't think you even want her there, because to bring her out of the dark would mean losing the harshness of her touch, the way she digs her hands into your pockets, seductively stealing your knives, your seeds, your mind. There's a longing for her knife against your neck, daring her to cut and end it for good. It's not good for you, and it's not good for her. You are the snakes biting your own tails. Wow. That's fucked up.
Yep.
And why did I need to hear this?
You strive for perfection. Perfect grades, perfect school, and nothing to bother that. You're idealistic. Anything against your ideals is an annoyance at best and a crisis at worst. This you share with the Hand, but that's where your similarities end. The Hand is about freedom, the entire eradication of control structures. The Hand isn't pacifist, but pragmatic. Any means to their end, if you will. Their goal is liberation and access to knowledge. Anything that restricts that is evil.
Finally, somebody had the courage to say it.
Shut it.
So the library and the Serpent's Hand both want to preserve knowledge, but the library cares about the knowledge side more, while the hand cares about the freedom more, right?
Exactly.
So, is there a story for me?
No, you're already good.
What?
She's a double major in psychology and anthropology. Not all of you need morality lessons.
Well, at least we're learning a lot.
You are. Come on, there's more to see.
And as we close, I would like to give a huge thank you to those in real life who made this episode possible. In particular, I would like to thank my many voice actors, including Kit, who played the role of Ani, Esme, who played the role of Catalina, Peach, who played the role of Rowan, Taya, who played the role of Anya, and Emily, who played the role of Quetz. I, Gaia, also played the roles of Lirulin and you throughout this episode. Next, I would like to thank the authors of the stories that we read today. In particular, I would like to thank the author of On Thieves and Punishments, Rounderhouse, from the Wanderer's Library Wiki, as well as Everhue, who wrote The Body Sleeping Next to Me, also from the Wanderer's Library Wiki. Finally, I would like to thank the composer of the music that you can hear in the background of this episode. His name is Kevin MacLeod, and you can listen to his music and more at incomtech.com. Thank you so much for listening, and have a good one.